What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Rodriguez, and we're back today with another episode. This one should be fairly quick. Just kind of, honestly, so yesterday we did my All-Star voting for the first round. You can vote, so by the way, if you haven't voted, if you're a baseball fan, go vote. You can vote up to 5 times a day so you can change up your votes. Give all your favorite players a chance, an even chance, 5 times a day, like I said. If not, maybe you're dead set on your lineup, and those are the guys you want. You can vote for them 5 times to really boost their chances. So go vote for your All-Stars. I did that yesterday on the podcast, which pushed I had a news, like an MLB news episode that I wanted with about 5 different topics that I had planned to do yesterday. But then as I was getting ready for the episode, I was like, you know what? I haven't done the voting yet. It'd be cool to kind of do it live in front of everybody. So I'm going to do that instead. So I did that. So a couple of these articles are like a day late, maybe, kind of, sort of, like, but still very much relevant. So we'll start talking about it. So, and a couple of these I made social videos for. So if you've seen the social videos, I apologize, because this was supposed to come out yesterday. Those videos are filmed in advance. So yeah. Anyway, so first we're going to talk about Paul Skenes, and I know everyone's probably sick of hearing me talk about Paul Skenes, and because, like I said, everywhere you go, where they're talking baseball, if they're even going to bring up a piece of baseball, like on SportsCenter, they're talking about Paul Skenes, because Paul Skenes has been the talk of the town since he got drafted first overall last year at LSU. But yeah, so he started off his career, obviously had a lackluster debut, was okay against the Cubs, and came back, then pretty much hit the Cubs, but was pulled due to pitch count. Then pitched against Detroit, and then everyone was kind of like, after the Detroit start, everyone was like, yeah, he's great, he's good, and a lot of people were like, well, he's just an average MLB guy at this point. Like, he's not doing anything really astounding. He had the one flirt with a no-hitter, but obviously was pulled due to pitch restriction so early in the season. Everyone was like, yeah, I don't know. And when I saw that he was going to be getting the Dodgers one game, I was like, okay, for anyone who's talking shit or doesn't believe that Paul Skenes is the real deal, this is the game that you need to watch. This is the game that you need to watch, because this is going to be his first true test. And a test it was, man. Facing the Dodgers is a test to every pitcher that walks into that ballpark. I mean, to face 1, 2, 3 is Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, and then, you still got to face guys like Gavin Lux, who's been struggling but is still good. You got Pages in there. You have Chris Taylor on a certain night, Will Smith on a night. So all those guys, all of them, all the way through, they're good ball players, man. They're good ball players. So that's a test, and he actually did really, really well. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he did pretty damn good. He struck out to start the game, strikes out Betts, strikes out Ohtani, and then comes back and strikes out, or gets Freddie Freeman to pop up. Let me see, Paul Skenes. I want to get his. Actually, I could probably find it faster on my phone. I always want to search it on this computer because it's easier for me to pull it up. But let me see something. Let me see if I can find these stats. He's got to be on here somewhere. Okay, so Jared Jones pitched the night before. No, yeah, hold on. Everybody relax. Oh, why? You want the one time you need something, you need a stat line. You just it doesn't pop up when you need it to. Like, that's the one thing that upsets me the most. When you need a stat, okay, here it is. Jeez. Okay, so against the Dodgers, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks, 93 pitches. Like, 8 Ks on a Dodger lineup, it's pretty damn good, especially when 2 of them are Ohtani, Betts, and a couple others. Like, dude, he's the real deal. And that's the thing. So obviously on a lot of teams, people have been, not as sharp against the Dodgers because of how just stacked that lineup is. But he went out there and shoved, did really well. Holding the Dodgers to 3 runs in itself is a feat, man. So I think if you didn't believe that, that Paul Skenes was a real deal, might want to think again, because he just did something dirty to the Dodgers. Now, the one guy that I wanted to talk about, because I just saw his face pop up on my phone, and this was one thing, I think I made an Instagram video about it, is Kyle Tucker. So Kyle Tucker is obviously like the saving grace for the Astros at this point. Like, I mean, he's going off. What? Oh, okay. So so I just saw this thing here just out of nowhere. It says, an Astros Phillies blockbuster trade to pair Kyle Tucker with Bryce Harper. I don't think so. Like I said, we're weeks away from this whole trade thing really heating up, but that's a little far fetched. Ain't no way Ain't no way. And if they do, the Phillies better win the goddamn World Series if they go and get Kyle Tucker. But I highly doubt it. Anyway, Kyle Tucker obviously fouls a ball off his foot a couple nights ago, out with a contusion. X-rays come back negative, so he's good. But he's now been out for 2 games, so that's a little bit worrisome. The Astros cannot afford to lose him, and obviously with no Bregman in the lineup, no Tucker in the lineup, you can tell that actually hurt because they were on a roll and then they really sucked the other night. So not good, not a good look. But playing like a stud Kyle Tucker is, hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. Now the one that I did want to talk about injury wise that I did see last night that was a little bit alarming. While we're talking about injuries and stuff like that. Juan Soto was pulled last night. There was a rain delay. There's a rain delay last night. Let me see if I can find the Yankees. Who are they playing? I think it was the Twins. Yeah, so they had the Twins. Yankees, holy shit, 45-19. That's nuts. Anyway, so they had the Twins go into a rain delay. Juan Soto was slated to play. As they came out of the rain delay, Verdugo replaces Juan Soto, and we are told that Juan Soto is experiencing some forearm discomfort. Now, the media is kind of split both ways here. You got people saying, well, he's had it for a week now. He said it himself, I've had this for a week. It hasn't interfered with my baseball, like me playing baseball. Basically, I can still hit, I can still throw. I'm good. It's just bothering me. Obviously, getting hot and sitting down for a while, if you're already having pain, it's probably not smart to throw a guy back out there if he's hurting a little bit. So I can understand the precaution. Obviously, it's Juan Soto. You're going to be as precautious as you possibly can with this guy. But at the same time, should we be worried at this point, right? So the Yankees are 45-19. They've been playing like the team that we've always dreamed that they would be as a Yankee fan. Like I've said multiple times, you've got, how many of them are on an all-star ballot this year? I mean, shit, you got Clay Holmes, who's insane. You've got Rodon, who showed up out of nowhere. I mean, I could talk about the Yankees all day. We got LeMahieu coming. You got Cole coming back in the next couple of weeks. So the Yankees are the real deal, man. And this is the most real team I've seen since 2009, to be honest. But with Juan Soto out, let's just say worst case scenario, Juan Soto needs TJ or Tommy John. Does that hurt the Yankees in the long run? I think on paper, it hurts. It's a blow to the morale of the club. I think it's a blow to the fan base. Like, that sucks that we're not going to see Juan Soto. But I don't think that he's something that we can't make up. I mean, with how they've been playing, yeah, not having that bat in there sucks, but you've got plenty of guys that have stepped up that can get the job done. So I'm not totally worried about it from that standpoint. From the long-term standpoint, not having him for the rest of the year, and then him as he's already expressing interest to go into free agency, yeah, it gets a little worrisome. But it helps the Yankees because they've already had him. If he goes into it with Tommy John, let's say he has Tommy John, right? He's going to be out for 12 to 16 months. He's not a pitcher, so hopefully it's a little bit shorter. I know Bryce Harper came back pretty damn quick. But at the same time, I think it's in the Yankees' favor if he does. I hate to say that, and I'm a big John Boy fan. Obviously, I watch them over there, especially with Talking Yanks, because I'm a major Yankee fan, so I listen to all their stuff. And my boy Jimmy didn't help me feel any better last night with his post. He's like, "Well, let's talk worst case scenario. He's out, blah blah," and he made it 10 times worse, making me nervous as shit. But honestly, worried about Juan Soto. I don't know. Honestly, the Yankees are known to downplay a lot of their injuries because they know how. I'm assuming it's because they know how insane their fan base is. Like, we're gonna lose our fucking minds, but they downplayed it. Said it's nothing that's serious yet. Blah blah blah. He says it's not interfering with his baseball play. For you to sit down, that says otherwise, but whatever. So in the coming days, we'll know more about Juan Soto. But just something on your radar that you should be, if you're a Yankee fan, you should be a little worried about it, because I am too. In other news, the White Sox. So and there's another one. I made a video about this yesterday talking about this, man. The White Sox have now lost. At the time when I made my short video yesterday, they were up to 13. They lost again last night to the Red Sox. It's funny, it's like as a club, they went out there and obviously they lose 13 straight, right? They're already down. They're like, fuck, man, we've lost 13 in a row. The most games they've lost consecutively in over 100 years, mind you. And they come in and they're facing Tanner Hoke. So it's like, dude, come on, right? That's like unfair. We're trying to win a fucking ball game. We got to face one of the best pitchers in the league right now. So shit, of course, what do you think happened? They lost a 14th straight. So it's just piling on. I don't quite know what's happening over there. And the White Sox have not been really a powerhouse. They've not been a team really of any contention for a while. had a couple pieces here and there. They've traded them all away. Tim Anderson's gone. Dylan Cease is gone. They're already saying Crochet's on the trade block. Robert Jr.'s on the trade block. They got Benintendi, but he's been nothing for them really. So a lot of pieces that just were either traded off and gone that they could have built off of, but they wanted to sell the team. And now here we are. They got Kopech. They've got some decent guys, which is why I'm like, what is happening? Is the chemistry off? And one of my big things that I was talking about was like, okay, what do they do at this point? Like they have to switch something up. So I'm not even upset if they're going to trade Crochet and Robert Jr., which is their two best guys in that lineup right now. They can't trade Kopech, but all these other guys, I'm like, get rid of them. You got to switch something up, get some fresh eyes in the clubhouse, some fresh bodies, something to just change this on its side. New coaching. I mean, the funny thing is, White Sox fans are savages, man. They were coming into my video saying, sell the team, get rid of the GM, get rid of the coach. They wanted to. If you're a White Sox fan, apparently you want to clean the fucking house, because that's the consensus that I came to from the comments I was getting from people yesterday. That White Sox fans are not happy, obviously, right? It's not fun to watch your team lose 14 fucking games in a row. But at the same time, they don't want anybody. They want everyone gone. All of them. They don't care. They want everyone gone. And I can't say that I disagree. I mean, that makes the most sense. At this point, something's got to change, and it's got to be drastic, because this is a drastic situation that they find themselves in. And what's funny is that I guarantee you that they're not going out there. And I know I said in my video that the morale had to be low. And it has to be at some point, right? Especially after the loss. But you can't come into work every day thinking we're going to lose this fucking game. We're going to lose again. We're going to lose again. We're going to lose again. Because you can't. And I guarantee they're not doing that. But it's got to be in the back of their mind at this point. So there's got to be some sort of mega serious change with the White Sox before I see any sort of change, whether that's the trading of them, whether that's bringing other pieces in, whether that's making a big trade for somebody. Obviously, they're not going to – I don't think they make any massive trades this year. I think they sell some pieces, but this offseason is going to be crucial for them to go get some pieces if they're serious about competing, at least next year, because this year's a wash. It's gone. It's way gone. 14 straight at this point. We're already almost – June 7th. We're about to be mid-June. You're creeping up on a season that's of no return. So I'm not expecting much from the White Sox. Is there still a slight chance they could do something? Maybe. But I wouldn't hang my hat on that at all, because I'm saying right now that it's going to be a play for 2025, 2026 if the White Sox are going to do anything. So, yeah, that's interesting enough. But the Soto thing is what really played on my mind. Oh, the other thing. So we got, I predominantly talk about Major League Baseball, mostly because we're in baseball season, and that's the bulk of what's happening in the baseball world right now. But we got Super Regional starting today. Exciting as hell. So college baseball coming. I'm going to do some research because I do want to talk about at least top 10 picks in the draft. Last year I was a little bit more versed in guys that were going, mostly because that was kind of the last year of like people that I kind of knew a little bit going into the draft. Obviously, we've had Max Clark on the podcast. We had a couple other guys, Brandon Beckel, that got drafted last year and the year before. So lots of guys, that I knew back then in that draft, so I was a little bit more versed. But I haven't done a whole lot of research on top prospects. This year, obviously, there's Jack Caglione, who's made big noise for Florida. A&M's got some dudes. You've got Chase Burns transferring from Tennessee to Wake Forest. Wake Forest gets eliminated. Tennessee's the number one team in baseball. Maybe he should have stayed. I don't know. But he's a guy that's projected to go pretty high. Throws 98 to 101 miles an hour. One of the highest rated pitchers in college baseball right now. So that's exciting. So I'm going to do that. I'll probably do an episode talking about top draft picks, especially with how much is going on. But exciting that college baseball is picking up speed here. Like I said, we got Super Regionals happening today, and then next week the big bad College World Series, one of the most exciting times of the year, is starting on the 14th. So that'll be really fun. All right, let's see if we got any more before I get to my last point. I just wanted to see if there's anything else. One more thing that we haven't talked about is Luis Hill. I said Gil on my video in the past, but Cy Young probables. Obviously, I broke down the Cy Young predictor from ESPN, but we have to talk about Max Fried for a second, and this will be my last point before I get to my last one, which is pitching wise again. But I think that Max Fried is going to win the Cy Young. I think so. I think Luis Gil wins it. Hold on. Let me pull up some stats here because I want to make sure I'm right here. So in all honesty, I think that Fried's going to win it on the National League, and I think that Hill, if he keeps up this stats, both of them obviously got to keep it up. Chris Sale's making a push for it as well. Cy Young on his side of things, but I think Fried's just polished a little bit better, a little bit younger, a little bit more fresh. But right now, if I had to pick a Cy Young, it'd be Hill for the Yankees, who's just absolutely tearing it up out of nowhere, mind you. And then obviously Max Fried. What is Max Fried? His stat line. Max Fried is a freaking monster. See, Max Fried obviously flirted with 2 no-hitters, 2 complete games, both of them under 100 pitches. So right now he's got a 2.93 ERA, 73 innings pitched, 67 strikeouts. In his last 7 games, he's a 1.86 ERA, 4-2, 41 innings pitched, 49 strikeouts, dude. In his last 2 outings, one against Washington, he pitched 8 innings, 7 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, and then had a career-high strikeouts the other night against Boston, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 13 strikeouts. So Max Fried is fucking elite if there ever was an elite pitcher. The Braves, lose Spencer Strider, and then you have Chris Sale and Max Fried just step it up to this point is insane. But in all honesty, calling it now, if this continues, there's no way Max Fried doesn't win the Cy Young this year. No way. But talking about Cy Youngs, okay. So I talked a couple days ago on the podcast talking about how important spring training was, and Blake Snell talking about that and how he felt that he wasn't ready going into the year because he missed out on so much of spring training due to the Boris thing and the contract negotiations and the turning down this contract, the turning on that contract, and then he ended up ultimately signing with the Giants on like a $62 million deal. Same thing happened to Montgomery. Montgomery was actually later, I think, and he didn't sign. He missed all of spring training. I think he didn't come until like half of the season, or not half the season. He didn't come until at least they had already started the season. I know that for sure. And he showed up after having an awesome year with Texas last year, winning a World Series. I thought that he was going to get a big contract somewhere because he put on an absolute performance the whole postseason. And that's Jordan Montgomery just going off, right? And on top of that, I thought for sure, someone signs Montgomery massive. Has to. He's that good, and he's proven that he's that good. But nope, no one wanted him. No one gave him a big enough contract, at least what he thought or what Boris thought that he deserved, right? So anyway, Montgomery signs like shit and signs like really late in a shitty time. That sounds like shit. Signs like shit, whatever. Signed at a really shitty time. The season had already started. Signs, gets no spring training, I guess, tried to prep where he could, and has had a dismal year at the minimum. I mean, at the max. Now, let me make this abundantly clear is that people were clowning people are clowning Montgomery and people are clowning Snell, saying they're just not good. They're not good. You have to remember, guys, and I'm going to say this again because people clearly didn't grasp the severity of what I'm trying to say here. Spring training is that beneficial and is that necessary for these guys. And if you can't tell, how can a guy who dominated at the top of his fucking game all year last year into the postseason, into the World Series, just shoving consistently, how does he go from that to this? There's only one common denominator. Both these guys, how do you go from the Cy Young winner to getting absolutely eaten alive in San Francisco? And obviously the injuries that have plagued Snell to this point, I mean, are a tell. He's not in shape. He's not prepared. He's not ready to take on the bulk of what a season can be. And that's evident. And the only common denominator with Snell and Montgomery as pitchers, because Chapman has struggled a bit too, getting his timing down because he's another guy who signed really late with the Giants at third base. There's something serious. There's something that's a common denominator is that they both didn't have spring trainings. They both signed super late, and now they are both sucking. And I'm bringing up Jordan Montgomery because he has had the worst start since Madison Bumgarner in his tenure after a trade. And maybe it's a bad luck trade from being in the World Series and being a stud to then going to Arizona, because that's the same thing that happened to Mad Bum. Mad Bum was an absolute monster in 13, 14, 15. Domination, obviously. They won all those World Series back then with San Francisco, and then kind of fell off, got a little bit older, got traded to the Diamondbacks, and was just never the same pitcher. And in fact, he just fizzled out all completely. He's done with baseball, right? And same thing happened to this guy. Absolutely shoved, was dominating, then gets traded to Arizona. and just a dismal side of himself. I mean, look at this. I mean, let's just compare so far, guys. In 2023, he pitched 188 innings and had a 3.20 ERA. Now he's pitched 46 innings and he has a 6.80 ERA. It's not even close, guys. It's not even close. 29 strikeouts. He's pitching to straight contact. Like, this is not good, right? And the common denominator is this: they need spring training, and it's evident at this point. And hopefully that's a sign for these guys who want big money and they want these big agents to go and negotiate on wheel deal, all these massive contracts. Sometimes it's not worth it because we're looking at why it's not, because you're not always going to get the perfect deal. So you got to be prepared at this point to sign early and get your ass to spring training. It's that important, because if not, you're going to get booed off. I mean, they booed Jordan Montgomery off the mound the other night. Brutal. It's brutal out there. So once again, emphasizing you need spring training because the numbers don't lie. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Just want to talk about a couple things in baseball. Obviously, not a whole lot craziness happening. But yeah, not we're excited for a whole week of baseball. I got super regionals coming up. We got a fun weekend of baseball I planned ahead, and then obviously next week got the College World Series, so that's even more exciting. So be sure to tune in, guys. Follow us on socials. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube for sure. Obviously, if you're watching this and you're watching it on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, man. I enjoy this shit. I love talking to you guys. If you have any thoughts, any ideas, anything you want me to discuss, talk about, please let me know in the comments below. I'm open to all discussion, open to a variety of topics. Like I said, it doesn't have to always be MLB. You can ask me about product. You can ask me about whatever you want. We're down to talk about it out here. So, like I said, guys, thanks for listening. No podcast this weekend. Maybe some videos, but we will be sure to catch you guys next week on Monday. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening.